Pound diamond ring this morning.
My conversation with Yardi ends when the Department of Trade and Industry cuts off the station's antenna.
TTI.
Told ya.
Oh.
What you've just witnessed now is a pirate radio going down. She's hurt.
I like Yardi. I know where he's coming from, but I think he's missing a point. Media pressure and poverty undoubtedly have a huge part to play, but African Caribbeans aren't the only ones affected by these issues. So why should we be the ones to bear the brunt of a violent and macho subculture? Time to drop in on my local barber shop, a place where black men can voice their opinions with impunity.
What happens is, you've got the Afro-Caribbean kid, and you've got the African kid. Now, the Afro-Caribbean kid, yeah, is more likely, yeah, to have crime in the family, to have badness around him. So what happens is, they want to look like they've got something, because all around them is nothing. So the first thing he wants to do, he wants to have a chain, he wants to have good clothes, he wants to have good trainers, to fool himself and to fool other people to make them think that he's got something. Now, the African child, yeah, even though there's more poverty around, yeah, he's more likely to have people in his family that go to college and go to university, yeah? So he's more likely to go to school, go to college, and use that as his way to get out.
It stems from role models. When you're young, I grew up around here, your only role models are naturally people who are older than you, and the people that are older than you are not really doing nothing productive. No one's a doctor or a lawyer around here that I know of who's black. You know, they're really like street man, you know, drug dealers. And they're the ones with the nice cars and nice things, and you think, boy, you aspire to be like them.
According to the Home Office, British black men form 12% of the prison population, despite being just 1% of the population as a whole. Surely poverty, racism, lack of role models, MTV base, and all these things combined can't account for such frighteningly high numbers. So there must be something else going on. I go to meet one of the crime stats for myself. 24-year-old Adonis is a Daily Mail reader's worst nightmare. At 12, he was selling weed, and by 19, he was a full-time crack dealer.
This is where a lot of the crackheads used to go and smoke their work, and now that part used to be a dump, you understand?
And this used to be like the centre of your activity?
Yeah, all around here, this whole square around us. Basically, the dealers know who the cats are, and the cats know who the dealers are. It just becomes of getting rid of your work and surviving the evening or the day. When I came up here, I just found out, whoa, the people that are smoking this shit are the people I know, I grew up with, you know, and they're introducing me to people that do that so I can make my money, you understand?
Adonis has nothing but contempt for his former customers. He feels it's the crackheads and junkies, not the dealers, that are the problem.
Well, when you see them high and strung out, they cut down to a level that, you know, they can never be, even though they can say, oh, I'm a drug dealer. You're the drug taker, you understand? You're the idiot, you understand? If they didn't want it, I wouldn't sell it.
I don't get a sense that Adonis feels any remorse for his past. For him, drug dealing was simply about supply and demand, like any other business.
I've been in this game for years.
And for him, it was a very profitable one. While he was dealing, Adonis claims he was making up to $4 grand a week, but he says he blew all his earnings on clothes, holidays, and girls.
Listen, I just have to go like this and show women a roll of money, and that was it. You know, I could be going home, just walking through Leicester Square, get ready to go on the tube, see a bunch of girls, they look at me, I'm looking at them, I call them over, they don't want to come over, I just show them the money, they'll come over.
People tend to respect people who look like they've got something. I could walk into a club, be blinged up to the max, and talk complete trollop, right? And I'd still walk out with 3 girls. Yeah. I could walk into that club, be the most knowledgeable brother on this block or any other block, talk to some girls, and I'm still gonna go home on my lonesome soldier self. I'm saying it's like tar, mate, eh? Tar.
You have my sympathy for if you have that problem.
there must have been times when you were doing this where you think to yourself, what am I doing? Or was it just like such a buzz, such an adrenaline-fueled thing?
When you're getting 84 pound gyro every 2 weeks, and then you're making 800 pound in an hour, the risks, yeah, you're not even thinking about the risks. You know, you got away yesterday, you got away today, you could get away tomorrow. You're not gonna get away all the time. But you understand, whatever comes, yeah, you have to handle it as a man because this is the worst game you're involved in. So you got to be able to handle the consequences that come with it.
I could see that Adonis is a product of the get-rich-quick lifestyle that Yardie had described. But how the hell did he become a drug dealer at the tender age of 12? I go with him to the South London estate where he grew up to find out.
This is where I first saw my first stabbing. I was about 6, 7 years old. You understand? I couldn't believe it was right there, the guy was full of blood. And you know what they did? He said, fuck it, take his socks. That's what they did. He had on diamond socks. They took his socks. They took.
Where I grew up in the East End was similar to this part of South London. You had to be tough to survive.
Do you see yourself as like a macho guy?
Well, basically, the only thing I'm scared of are dogs and the dentist. And that's about it. I'm not really scared of nothing else. As soon as you show your weakness to somebody, they'll take advantage of that weakness, you understand what I'm saying? So you can't be soft. To be macho around here, you have to be tough. Give me one of this bum. What do you mean? Don't talk then, they're not for you then. Then don't talk then, they're not for you get me? That's the haters right there. Right. That's the bookies, man, in there. You understand?
The environment is against you, but on the other hand, you make choices as individuals to go down that kind of like bad boy sort of path.
No, I mean, boys will be boys and boys will break things and boys will do crazy things, but when you get older now and you need money, that's where, you know, your survival things that you learn on the street can help you. Because if you see man's them hustle when you're like 8 years old, you see the older youths them hustling, you understand? You know the routine. You're like 18 years old now, you're going to college, you ain't got no money, you're looking for work, you need to make a little money, you know who to go to, you understand? It ain't no biggie.
As a boy, Adonis used to pass Brixton Prison on his way to school. By the time he was 21, his drug dealing had landed him inside it.
The first night I was in there, I heard someone hang himself, you understand? And the screws didn't do nothing to the next morning. I thought, I ain't going like that. You understand? I got to think of my brethren like Muhammad Ali's been in jail, Mike Tyson's been in jail, Nelson Mandela's been in jail. It was my time, I had to ride it, they rid it, you understand?
In Adonis's case, prison seems to have worked. After 18 months inside, he turned his back on drug dealing.
When you go to jail, yeah, you realise that at least 85% of the people in there are dickheads, for one. And you'll not find that out until you get in there. And when you come out, you don't want to be away from pussy for that long again. Your little creature comfort, sitting on your own toilet, eating your own food, what you used to, talking to the people that you used to. Yeah, doing the things that you used to. You just don't want to do it no more. Being told what to do. You understand?
Adonis now lives in a one-bed flat. He says he's given up the life of crime, but he complains that he can't find a job.
I've been job interviews after job interviews and job interviews, and, you know, you get the same thing when you go in there. They all smiling, hi, how do you do? And, you know, they're telling you wonderful stuff. Oh, your CV is great, and you worked here, and oh, you worked in Harrods, and stuff like that. And you think, right, you know, I'm onto something. Yeah, you understand? You don't even get a reply.
Adonis grew up poor in a rough environment, surrounded by the get-rich-quick street culture. But many of us are subjected to poverty, tower blocks, and all that MTV crap. So why do black boys act out this macho fantasy more than white boys?
The whites have a picture of Eminem on their wall. Yeah, but you got two rappers in two different households. You got 50 Cent, you got Eminem. Eminem ain't wearing a 30 grand watch. Eminem ain't got a 600,000 pound chain on, has he? He got a white t-shirt and a tracksuit. So why has 50 Cent got to be dripping from head to toe? All them teeth got diamond in. Why?
50 Cent, we know who he's aiming at, he's marketing at. He's been marketed and aimed at young, inner-city, black youths. That is who he is marketed.
Yeah, but they ain't got the money to buy the CDs. They're not the actual CD buying market. It's middle-class white kids who buy that stuff because they got the money.
What I'm saying is, when you're looking at the marketing now, I'm talking about these people who sit behind and actually, right, we're going to have this campaign. Right, OK, 30 cent, come on, nigger, come on. Right, OK, what are you going to wear? Right, I'll tell you what, coon, put that gold necklace, no, in fact, no, platinum necklace, coon, yeah, I'll tell you what, you're going to wear Nike? No, we've got a new make for you, nigger, come on, put that on, right, OK then, what are you going to sing about then? I'll tell you what to sing, you can sing, I'm a P-I-M-P and I'm a pimp. OK then, nigger, sing that then, go on, and have a nice video, what we're going to put in that, OK, nigger, have that gun, and a bag of crack, go on, nigger, go on, make it look like you're doing a couple of deals, go on, nigger, go on.
Why is it then that black men are so weak if they can't think for themselves and they have to have such a person to dictate to them? Because that's what you're saying. Every young black man is so stupid and weak and low personality and esteem.
No, I'm not saying that.
He can't, no, you have.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is...
Young black men of today lack esteem, they lack confidence, and they lack faith in themselves. Okay?
Yeah, but that's
and they're
the truth,
looking
though.
through somebody else.
True.
And that's it.
Look, let's put it this way.
That's the bottom line.
You've got more chance of owning a gold chain than being a prime minister.
Yeah.
Right?
You can still be a...
Gold chains, fast cars, Gucci, Prada, Porsche, Versace. The almost hypnotic obsession some young men have with designer brands, glitz and glamour is messing with their minds. Black boys paying the price for dominating youth culture. A culture that's based on materialism and little else. I've come to Croydon to meet a bunch of kids for whom the bling lifestyle is all important.
Too fast, too furious. I'm too fast for y'all, man. Too fast, too furious. I'm too fast.
I got the fastest car here. Yeah, you tried to drop it. I can hit 140.
Yeah, I can't hit 144, 144.
Yeah, but I'll beat you to 140.
Right, cool, we'll have to test it out one day, innit? We're going to
We got shifted in a fashion.
No, we don't in a fashion, you dickhead.
It sounds like this is like a car clash. That's how it goes, though, like, people want to race to prove who's quickest.
Like, he's my boy, and I'm happy that he's got a fast car, and he's happy that I got a new car, and that's how it goes.
You gotta have the best car, you gotta show off and just get noticed, innit?
Oh, you just came home.
Do most people down here, or most of your crew, do they work? How do
Everyone I know here works, literally.
Yeah, we all work, but like, when you're working, you want something to be proud of.
That's it, you work hard, you know what I mean? If I was a bum,
you show it off.
But what would you think about the fact that a lot of people would look at you, hoodies, fast living and that, and would think, right, that you're gangsters. A lot of like mainstream people will look at you and just think straight, you're gangsters.
I'm a normal person. I work every day of the week. I might have my hood up, but it's cold. Everyone's got their hood up. Everyone. If you look around, look, where over there's got his hood up. It's just cold, isn't it?
Too fast, too furious. I'm too fast for y'all, man.
So if these are normal kids, and this is a normal pastime, we have to ask ourselves, why is youth culture going off the rails?
Doing a bid, tell me what you gonna do.
The youth now, I suppose, lack of discipline. There's no discipline like before. The parents don't really have as much time as before. Sort of like everybody's got bills to pay, so they concentrate on paying bills. And they forget that they've got kids. And really and truly, the kids then grow up by themselves, and when they grow up by themselves, they create their own world, their own rules. So they go out and they form a gang, and they look after each other, pretty much like wolves.
In the old days, many kids, myself included, got a beating for misbehaving.
It started off with a belt, and then it started off with a strap. Curtain wire. Curtain wire is one of them things that is silently deadly. It goes through there, and when it lick, you just feeling it, but it's like so thin. But it licked one area, and the whole area just burst into pain. And you wail up, you got some proper Kunte Kinte strike. Now, how many youths get beat with curtain wire? That's instant, you're going straight to jail with that one. You picked it with curtain wire. But it went on.
Personally, I don't favour corporal punishment. I think there's more than one way to skin a cat or discipline a child. And anyway, I don't think it's just down to parents alone. I wonder if as a community, we're doing enough to discipline our youth. To find out, I go to meet Courtney Griffiths, QC, a leading criminal defence lawyer who sees a wide range of young black men in his work.
The imposition of discipline is not solely the responsibility of parents. And I think one of the things which is currently lacking is that communal sense that every black child is my responsibility. So certain influences which were out on the street are no longer there.
So the structure of the black community is changing, and the figures speak for themselves. 48% of African Caribbean families are now led by a single parent, most of them women, compared to 22% of the general population. It seems that a major disciplinary influence is missing from too many homes. I think about Adonis, who spent so much of his life on the wrong side of the law. I wonder about his upbringing.
You never knew your father at all?
No.
Never met him?
Never met him a day in my life.
What do you know about him?
That he's American, he's got 2 degrees, and he wears glasses, and he's tall just like me, and that's it.
Do you ever talk to your mum about him?
She don't really... Nah, not about things like that, nah, not really. You know, she may have bad memories. I don't want to refresh her and for her to get pissed off and her to piss me off. You understand?
And she doesn't go that way herself?
No, I mean, she doesn't even really talk about her own dad.
I was beginning to see a picture of a boy who'd grown up too fast. Someone who, from an early age, had to act as the man of the house and who had no father to counterbalance the pressures of the street.
Of course, there are many instances where young black males are being asked to shoulder responsibilities which the father figure within the household would bear. In effect, they're being forced to grow up before their time. And one consequence of that might be that if you're the man indoors, why shouldn't I be the man outdoors as well? And so that one's behavior on the street might display the characteristics of an adult when you're just a child. And one consequence of that might be that people respond to you not as a child, but as an adult.
So with many fathers absent, it seems that all too often moral values are left to the street, where black boys are forced to conform to an identity that tells them there's only one way to be black. A self-fulfilling stereotype based on a ghetto definition of blackness. But it's not just working-class youths who suffer from the association of black masculinity with a bad boy persona. Even those who have nothing in common with street life feel under pressure to play the game. Jamie lives with both his parents in an affluent London suburb where he goes to a private school. Here, he's accused of not being black enough simply because he doesn't conform to some tired old stereotype.
You get cool things like a bounty, you know, like the sweet, black on the outside, white on the inside.
Right.
You're sold out, you're not really black. Even in prep schools you can get that. I mean,
really?
Yeah.
What, from other black students?
Well, it's not really black students either. It's white students sometimes, even that. They claim they're blacker than you are.
How do you feel when they say that kind of stuff to you?
It doesn't really bother me. I'm proud of being black. I know I'm black. They can't tell me I'm white on the inside. I mean, I'm just doing what I think I need to do to better myself in my career. And I don't think that makes me any less black.
So Jamie is mocked by white kids because he doesn't front it like an MTV gangster.
How much pressure do you feel, you know, you're under on a day-to-day basis to conform to a kind of, you know, macho stereotype?
Well, a lot. I mean, especially in a boys' school, I mean, image is almost everything. It's almost as important as the work. I mean, you've got to kind of fit in with everyone, and everyone seems to want to be, you know, manly. I mean, you know, I'm bigger than you, I can, you know, beat you up, blah, blah, blah.
I have a lot of sympathy for Jamie. It's tough for black boys and black men to resist the pressure to buy into all this stereotypical macho bullshit.
So supposing Jamie comes in one day and he's got his hood up and he's like, yeah, you get me, what's up, Pops? What are you going to do?
He does that to wind me up.
Oh, really?
Because he knows I don't like it. He does. Or he will come in and wear his trousers. You know the way the boys wear his trousers. And I just go and hold it and pull it up. And I keep telling him, no, you won't do that. But I mean, I have real concerns about Jamie going out, wearing a hood and putting the hood up. Yeah. I really do. And so I try very much. I mean, I think up until a few years ago, in fact, I wouldn't buy a hoodie at all.
Really?
Seriously.
Hoodies were banned?
Not banned. It wasn't something that we went out looking for.
Jamie's father is a civil servant, and his mother has recently given up a well-paid job to spend more time with him. They've worked hard to keep Jamie on the straight and narrow.
What do you think that you give Jamie that makes him what he is? I mean, specifically as a father.
Well, regrettably, it all has to happen before they get about 7 or 8. After then, they really don't want you around. You know, so up until Jamie was about 7, 8, I hope that I gave him lots of values, sort of basic values that he could refer to.
In terms of your value system, how far up or, you know, down the scale is education?
Very far up.
Yeah.
Because as far as I'm concerned, it's the bedrock of everything. And so the most important thing for us, even if it means we have to sacrifice everything, is school. To give him the best start in life, really.
Yeah. Another thing I think is important is, I mean, people complain about racism. Racism is a big problem in the society. But look, I know that where I am now is about 98% me, my choices, the things that I have done, rather than what some society or white man has done. It's about me, what I've done. So Jamie can do the same thing, and everyone else can do the same thing, even though there's all sorts of discrimination and prejudice. People still have to depend on their own individual choices, and that's what we're trying to do with him in terms of the way we educate him, I don't know, socialize him, and so on, for him to know it's down to you rather than harping on about what someone else has done to you.
Where do you get that sense of self-determination from? Because I hear so many black people saying, oh man, the system's on my back, I can't get a job, it's racial.
I was always brought up to believe that you get nothing for nothing. If you want something, you work for it. If you get paid at the end of a month, you have got to work for that. And so there is this determination that whatever happens, you have to strive to achieve the best.
So much of the pressure on these boys relates to this misguided notion of keeping it real. That somehow to be black, you have to be street, urban, or subscribe to some rap video philosophy. No one has a monopoly on blackness. The idea that your color should determine how you think or act is absurd.
If black people are meant to use the cliche, keep it real, in order to subscribe to a stereotypical view of blackness, how am I, as a working class black man in a middle class profession, defined?
Part of that is to do with a certain defensive mentality which has developed within black communities, which overly associates blackness with poverty and all the difficulties of economic disadvantage. And somehow, if you escape from that, there's a part of the thinking which almost treats you as a traitor, that you've betrayed the real you, the real black person, because you've actually come out of the ghetto.
To be honest, keeping it real is being able to get out of your bed in the morning and go to a job. That's keeping it real, because really you have to look after, if you have family, you keep it real looking after your family. You can't be keeping it real bopping down the street driving a 320 CI with the roof down and sun blaring in the top of your head and you ain't got nowhere to sleep. Is that keeping it real? £30,000 watch on your wrist and you ain't even got a doormat for your house. Keeping it real. We got very misconceived when we say keeping it real. We don't understand what real is. We live in video world.
Yes, but
we need to live in the real world. Keeping it real is educating ourselves, educating our kids, educating ourselves in a state that we can put ourselves up there with the rest of them.
Let's not be naive. It's easier for someone like Jamie, who lives in a leafy suburb, to avoid the pressure of the street. However, many black boys are caught in a vicious circle. They have to act tough on the street to survive. Many outsiders then automatically assume they're troublemakers. The boys in turn feel frustrated and angry at being typecast when all they're doing is following fashion. I visit a very different kind of school down the road to see what black boys at the other end of the social spectrum have to say about this.
Taking a look at you, you're all pretty kind of like, you got it going on. The Armani, the old school Adidas, the Kickers, Aqua, Prada. So you've got this image, this style that in some ways doesn't quite fit with your academic and your career aspirations, right? So is this a problem for you?
That's a stereotype. By saying because we wear Prada, Armani, and etc., doesn't mean that we can't do well academically. See, that's one of the main problems with society. Because we're all popular, because we got the latest design, it doesn't mean that we're not intelligent. That's an old view. Let me try and say this without trying to offend anybody. Say, for example, if I'm walking on the street, now, because of the way I'm looking right now, I've got my cap turned sideways, I'm with my friends, I ain't gonna lie, sometimes we're a bit loud and people feel inferior when they're around us. So, I see people grabbing onto their purse like as if we're gonna do something to them, and that just makes me feel offended. And kind of when you get offended, after a while, you start to get a little bit angry. You're thinking, why do people think like that? And they're just creating these own little views based upon what they see right there in front of them, and they don't know what's within.
I wouldn't say that's just white people.
It's not just people. It's,
I reckon it's.
I'll say the majority
as well. All races.
All races. Get me? It's all races, but mainly that view's mainly based upon black people.
I could understand their anger at being unfairly judged for their image alone, and I was concerned about the impact it could have on boys like these who keep to the straight and narrow. But at the same time, if you go around acting like an MTV gangster, should you be surprised if people occasionally view you with suspicion? For white people, it's a bit like wearing a Ben Sherman shirt, red braces, and steel-toe cap Doc Martens.
Why are we so preoccupied with kind of image, with status, even when status means low status, with the need to kind of be tough, to have this gritty urban machismo and these sort of issues?
I think that raw, aggressive, masculine persona that don't fuck with me face is something which many black people put on in order to survive the realities of living within a racist society. At one level, that becomes a shackle in itself. And that in living up to that and feeling the need constantly to portray that role, it has become part of our own self-definition when there isn't always a need to be aggressive and put that face on. That sometimes, because it's the way to be, if you're gonna be real and black, we put it on in situations where it really has no relevance whatsoever.
It's easy to blame much of this aggressive, fronting behavior on imported American hip-hop culture. But young black men have other pressures on them. A major influence on urban street culture, both here and in the US, has come from Jamaica, where the ultra-violent yardie gangster has become synonymous with extreme criminal activity. DJ Yardie introduces me to his old friend and fellow DJ Marky Mark. As a Jamaican, I wondered what Marky thought about the effect this was having on young black youths in Britain.
Let me tell you something. I'm a fellow Jamaican. I won't beat down my countrymen, the land where my parents came from. But the most of them, what are they doing for us? In fact, they're giving us a more harder time for the English youths growing up over here.
Really? Why is that?
Yeah, they've bad influence them. Do you know what I mean? The gun team. More shots are now being fired by the English youths. The Jamaicans are getting the blame for it, but it's the English youths, but it's the Jamaican culture,
and we were talking about this
culture that brought it over here. When we was growing up, we had a row, punch him in his mouth, and that's the end of it. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Two schoolboys can't have a row. In fact, just last night I was talking to my mate. His son's 15, got into a little scrap. The next day, there's about 20 of them outside the school waiting for him.
And you know they wasn't coming to punch him in his mouth.
We're talking about Halliwell as well.
They would have killed him. Do you understand? And that's the state of where we are today, which ain't no good. Let me tell you what I'd like to do with the island of Jamaica. This is the ocean. This is Jamaica. Sink it. Then bring it back up.
Yeah.
And start again. Yeah? Serious.
That's a radical departure.
It's
because
very
ain't
radical,
Jamaicans
mate,
supposed to, you know, holding it down, you know?
Jamaican criminality is associated with levels of violence which are quite frightening. And one wonders what it is about the Jamaican mentality which has spawned that particular association. And Jamaican patois has come to be associated with a certain coolness, with a certain hardness, with a certain kind of macho persona. And a lot of people feel that being able to speak like that, you know, puts them a peg up the ladder. It's a funny thing. You can sit on a bus in South London, on the top of a bus, at 3:30 in the afternoon, when the kids come out of school, and you close your eyes and listen to the accent, and you can't tell who's white and who's black.
What is coming out is all the stereotypes, all right? If you ask a youth, give me a depiction of a yardie, you know what he's gonna say. Loudmouth, money, bling bling, do you understand? Gun. There you go. They're not going to say someone who had good intelligent schooling, has come over here to make good of themselves, progress, to go back to his island to make their country progress. That's not what they're going to tell you.
Yardie subculture may well have contributed to racial stereotyping, but there's no doubt it's also influenced homegrown criminal behaviour. In recent years, according to the Home Office, there's been a worrying rise in the number of young people carrying real or imitation firearms, either to boost their image or from a misguided idea about self-protection. Some of this is linked to gang activity, which itself is linked to the illegal drug trade. To understand more about gang culture, I go to meet Booger, who was in a gang for over 13 years. Booger's crew was hardcore, into everything from drugs to armed robbery and serious assault.
It's kind of like a job. Being a gang is like being in a job. You have to make money, you have to defend your niggas back. You got to do all that. It's like a job, and it's an everyday job. It's a 24-hour job as well. Because if you're in your bed and then one of your little thugs have got a little argument now, and he phones you up, and you got to be out there for him. You got to have his back. You can't sit down and say, oh, I'm in bed, I can't come. That don't work like that. It's like a job. It's a serious job too.
Booger's gang career started as a kid, nicking sweets.
You go in there, the buzz of it is, oh, let me nick the sweets instead of pay for it and see if I can get away with it. It's all about, can I get away with it? You understand? But it wasn't nothing really great. It wasn't something I really enjoyed doing anyway. But you do it because your friends are doing it. Then you want to go into bigger things, don't you? When you start knowing about money, then you're going to want to start, oh, I want to have money. Like you see a man with this car, Porsche or whatever, and you're going to say to yourself, I want some of that as well.
To fund this get-rich-quick lifestyle, the crimes got bigger and bigger. By the late 1980s, Booger and his gang were all carrying guns.
I mean, the first time I heard one go off, I was in one place one time in a club thing and it went off. I jumped. It's loud. When a gun goes off next, it's loud. But it's a thing where you get used to. I mean, if a man pulls a gun on you, you probably might be scared, obviously, yeah, because you don't know whether he's going to shoot you or not. But that's not for you to show him that fear, is it? You got to look him in the eyes and see what's he really getting at. Are you going to deal with it or not? You can read a man, yeah. You stare at him and you can see. And if you've got that chance there where if he's going to stick you up with that gun and you think you can try it and you can grab it, you go for it. Or if not, just play his game, innit? See him another day, and when you see him another day, he might not have it with him on that day. And what happens then? It's your turn. This is how it goes. Gun is like power. Gun is power in different ways for different people. You'll have a man who'll probably have his gun and you'll never know he's got his gun. That gun ain't coming out. That gun has to come out on a serious basis. It's not coming out on no joke thing like pull it out and wave it around the place and say, oh, I'm going to shoot this, I'm going to shoot that. It don't go like that. And when the gun gets in the guy's hand and he ain't got a clue what's going on, it's obviously the gun's more dangerous, isn't it? So in a way, then that's when you're talking about where it's getting out of control. Because well, it's just guns is in the wrong hands.
Booger sank deeper and deeper into a world where being a bad boy and never backing down was all that mattered.
Yeah. You can back down if you want to, but then they're going to be looking at you as an arse. They're going to think, oh, he's weak. He's got this, he's got that, and he can't defend it. It's all about defending what you own. Because there's a lot of people out there who see certain guys who's got things and they think, oh yeah, I'll take it. But it doesn't always go like that, because you meet up on the wrong one, man, and then your life's ended.
Booger finally realised he stood a good chance of being killed.
It got quite nasty after a while. When I was getting older. The older I was getting, it's like it was getting more deeper and it was getting worse. Because one time, you got all your friends around you, and the next thing, your friends are just dropping. Cousins, friends. My best friend, Spencer, got shot 5 times. I mean, I was aware, I was in prison at that time. I was doing 2 years for something. But he got shot 5 times, and it wasn't even for him. So that's what I'm saying, when guns go off now, guns don't respect who's in front of it. It just goes off and it takes anything that's in its way. My cousin got killed, Sutty. My other cousin got shot in the head, that was in Golders Green. We've lost a few.
I wonder what finally made Booger quit.
I had time to sit down in prison and think, what's really going on? Do I really need all this? And don't forget, I got my kids, and then imagine they lose their dad. My mum loses a son. My brother loses a brother, innit? So at the end of the day, all that time in prison, I sat down and I was sitting there wondering, you know, I need to come out. When I come out, I can't be going back to these kind of things because it's not really for me now.
5 years ago, Booger left the gang. Now he earns a living as a bus driver.
All right, me now, I'm happy. I'm out of the gangs and I'm still alive. I'm not buried, thanks God. And I'm not doing life for killing someone who took the piss out of me, so I'll just get on with my life. I'll carry on driving that bus. You can laugh if you like. At the end of the day, I can still see tomorrow unless I have an accident, and I doubt that because I'm the wickedest driver. Yeah,
Booger got out in time, but in Britain in the last 5 years, deaths involving firearms have gone up by 60%. And injuries have almost doubled.
I'm a criminal lawyer, and the criminal law prescribes offences of murder, rape, a whole host of offences. There isn't a specific offence in the criminal lexicon called murdering a black man. It's murder all the same. So I have difficulty dealing with any concept which seeks to create or seeks to elevate or give a certain profile to crimes committed by black people. But at the same time, don't get me wrong, many of us within our community are scared, are hesitant to go to certain social functions because of the concern we have about violence, and that shouldn't be so. So in saying that, I want to get rid of the labeling of certain kinds of offences as black. At the same time, I think we need to be honest with ourselves and recognise that issues of criminality need to be addressed in our communities.
Reading the statistics, it's easy to get a misguided view of the problem. Well, it's all drug-related. There must have been gangsters. But that's not always the case.
I'm here to see Michelle, a probation officer.
Who's mother of a 21-year-old guy called Leon who was shot dead right outside here for no apparent reason, as far as anyone can gather.
Leon had 2 children and was an up-and-coming record producer.
Someone had told me 6 months ago that my son would have been shot. I wouldn't have believed them. Leon was as frightened of guns as anybody else. You know, he didn't want to die. He wasn't a gun man.
And did you get a sense from, you know, conversations that you had with him, you know, what it was like to be a young man out and about in London?
Yeah, in retrospect, yes. I mean, you know, he used to say to me that being a young black male was not easy. out on the streets, and you had to be careful. You know, I'll give you an example, you know, we'd be driving and I might be looking and saying, Mum, don't stare at people, because, and I said, well, when you're looking, and he'd say, you can't do things like that, you know, because something might happen, then I'd have to defend you, and God knows what would happen then. So he had that sense, and I guess I was naive and used to say, well, like a lot of people out there probably thinking, well, you know, if you ain't doing anything, you ain't saying anything, then nothing should happen.
On the night of December the 7th, 2003, Leon came home early from the studio. He took his dinner upstairs while his mum was asleep on the sofa. She was woken by a noise.
It sounded like muffled firecrackers. That's the only way I can describe it, with a pause and then a couple more. At which point my daughter had gone upstairs, called out, she'd looked out the window at the top of the stairs and said, there's smoke out there, and did you hear that noise? And as I got off this sofa to go out down the hallway, the doorbell was ringing incessantly, and it was his friend. And, you know, those 4 words will live with me to the end of my days. Michelle Leon's been shot. I just ran out. It was a freezing cold night. I got sort of by the pillar, and his friend vaulted over the fence. When I got here, I could see the car lights, which was probably a bit further down from where that green car was. And I ran around the corner and down the steps, and by the time I got to the corner, his friend was pulling him backwards and just saying, oh no, Leon. Sitting in that hospital room, all of us, it's just surreal. You know, I can't go in to see my child, I can't hold him for about 2 hours. And at that point they told me there was no hope, that the bullet had severed his spinal cord, and his brain was swelling, and therefore, you know, we just had to wait. And because he's a healthy young man, it took 9.5 hours, and they wouldn't switch off the machine, so, you know, that sort of prolongs everything, and it's very, very painful when you know that your child, there's nothing you can do. Because as a mother, you know, if he hurt or he was in pain, it was me that he came to talk that through, and so one time in his life I couldn't do anything. So that was hard.
Mm. You know, where do you go from here? How do you pick up the pieces?
Well, you don't. You know, some people always say, oh, it'll get better. It doesn't get better. In fact, it gets worse, because it's been nearly 6 months now. Without any physical contact, not being able to talk to him. And, in many ways, it's worse.
Oh, Jerusalem, yeah. Oh, Jerusalem.
I don't get any comfort from coming here. Neither does his sister. It's just a constant reminder. His father gets more comfort from coming down here. It's unnecessary. It's just totally unnecessary. And I got so fucking angry because, you know, I worked so hard with my child that he wouldn't go out there and hurt somebody else's child, and then I'd have to visit him in prison. I didn't realise I could come visit him in a fucking cemetery. Do you know what I mean? I'm just so angry.
Michelle has focused her anger on campaigning for much tougher gun laws.
I'm not saying I'm not frightened of the bullet, but you know what? They took my only son, and I will stand up with the rest of the mothers and people on this stage, and I will be counted.
I would just want people to get a reality check. This is not something that's going to go away. It's not something that happens to bad people, in inverted commas. It happens to innocent young people who haven't done anything. And I'm just amazed at the amount of people that have been affected, and it's going to get worse, because it's got to the point now that every weekend I think it's going to be another shooting, and sure enough there was 2 this weekend.
It's clear that urban black culture, the very thing that so many of us find liberating and entertaining, also has a destructive edge to it. I wonder, what can we do from within the community to bring about change? I've come to Harlesden in North London to a club called Dreams. Its owner, Collar, knows all about street life and being on the wrong side of the law. But at 38, he now wants to do something for the community. Collar knows from personal experience that much of the violent crime affecting young black men revolves around the club scene. So he makes sure that security at Dreams is tight.
If you would have walked for the big metal detector, you would have been searched by this gentleman here. And just for good measure, we make sure that this gentleman here hasn't mixed anything. The lady will search the vital areas.
Collar knows about guns from his time on the street, and now he's a consultant to the police on Operation Trident, the Met's anti-gun initiative.
I pride myself on the fact that I've never had a shooting. I pride myself on the fact that we're able to engage the people in the right way that don't want to make them come and shoot my club up, you know what I mean? We just do security in the way it's supposed to be. Turn around and get the whistle. I'm sorry because the sound thingy or whatever, but in other clubs, some people don't search DJs, you know what I mean? And like, DJs are people too, so everybody should get searched.
John Walker,
It's not exactly China White, but thanks to the tight security, clubbers at Dreams know they can relax and party without fear of gunfire breaking out.
You
people can see that it's not all about bullets, guns and violence. It's also about enjoyment. It's also about dancing. There's people having a good time and a nice vibe.
During the day, Collar lets young people use part of his premises as a place where they can socialise in safety.
We're taking kids off street. We're doing positive shit with them. We're, you know, we speak the same language as them. We're down with what they're doing. We can also show them an alternative. You know what I mean? There's an alternative to drugs, shooting people and all that kind of stuff.
Do you think he's doing like good things for the area?
Yeah.
He's trying to improve the streets. Yeah, he's trying to like improve the streets, isn't it?
This is a place you won't come here and see like some other clubs people fight and no. You won't get that here.
I live in Arsden.
See it there?
Trust me. Safe. I sleep with my door open.
Whoa! My car don't even have a car alarm on my car.
I don't.
You get me? No, I'm telling you.
I
don't. Collar shows me around the rest of his club.
This is like a gym that we've got in here. I have the youth offending team using it in a minute for the kids to give them something to do. I've got like a dance studio here, which I use for like kickboxing, kiddies karate, auditions. We've just got some funding from the Home Office. This is going to be a classroom. We're going to have like a computer suite over here.
Why are you doing it?
Why shouldn't I do it? I've got to do it, man. It's like your duty, you know. At the end of the day, as a big man, you know what I mean, and getting to be an old man, I've got to turn around and do something. Do you know what I mean? So this is like my junior DJs mixing 101. Make sure you give him a good mix, yeah, because I can't turn around and let people start taking the piss out of you. Oh, well, the youth are just this and the youth are just that. People don't understand them. So because they don't understand them, they're deemed as bad people. That's wrong. If I don't understand you, that doesn't mean that you're a bad person. That just means I don't understand you. Maybe I should take some time out and get some greater understanding of you.
Right, come on, you got to mix. Come on, man. You've got to mix. You just
I think it's important for every single black person, to put something positive, a positive image about their people, a positive image about themselves, something positive back in their community cause. Because at the end of the day, they grew up in the community, not grow up in the community, get rich, and step out. That don't make sense. It's not just about hit and run. It's about hit and stay. You know what I mean? Hit, stay, see what you can turn around and do in your community, show some love in your community, get some things going, do you know what I mean?
The knee-jerk reaction to crime is to demand more cops and tougher laws. But maybe what we really need are more collars, more people who are prepared to make a critical change from within the community.
Ultimately, my dream is to cause that snowball effect. So I've started it.
I know that I've got youths under me, so they'll start what I finished. Do you know what I mean? And they'll start, and they'll start, and they'll start, and they'll start. Do you know what I mean? Until that thing, equal. Do you know what I mean?
So, if we then have to kind of take ownership of the problem as black men, as black people, as a black community, how can we wrestle this issue and come up with some sort of solutions? What can we do? Because we must do something about this.
Well, I think step number one is starting to look at ourselves with a greater degree of honesty and recognizing that there is such a group in our midst who really don't care that much about us, who really don't see a great deal of solidarity in blackness as such, whose only solidarity is with money. One consequence of that would be that when they commit their offenses, we no longer feel an automatic defensive reaction towards them, but would be quite willing in that situation to report them to the police. And I think we ought to. My personal view is that if we were to reconquer the streets in terms of, you know, the middle-aged and the elderly using the streets and not being afraid of the streets in the way that the popular media's come to cause us to fear it, that there would be less crime on the streets. How are you going to mug someone when there's, you know, umpteen people sitting on their doorsteps watching what's going on outside?
Taking an active role in policing our community and regaining the streets for law-abiding citizens are two possible solutions. But I think back to all the people I've spoken to in the course of my journey. In their bravery, in being open about young black men and crime, I see a way forward. We need to stop clinging to the notion of the African Caribbean community as a community under siege. There are destructive elements in our midst that are having a detrimental effect on our youth and on our future prosperity. It seems to me that if we can't be self-critical, if we can't discuss where we're going wrong, then how are we ever going to get it right?
Through all your false pretenses, but what you fail to see